and gang. Welcome to another episode of the Casual Conversations with Miss Dr. Debris, Miss Ramirez, and of course, yours truly, the Success Engineer. On today's topic is opportunities outside. Let me get my let me get my phone out. What was the topic that I sent you all yesterday? Yeah, I
I
don't
think
remember.
opportunities outside the classroom.
Yeah, experiences that helped us grow outside of the classroom. So we have things like the Biz Fest, which is an opportunity to get scholarship. So these students build a business and pitch it, like kind of like Shark Tank, and there's students from all over Kansas City that participate. And then we have like 2020 Leadership, which is like an ongoing organization that comes in and help or provides students with leadership opportunities and personal development, professional development, things like that. And then they offer a scholarship at the end that you can win at the end of being in 2020 Leadership. So I just wanted to talk about the experiences that we had um, outside of the classroom. So I remember in high school, I had two major experiences outside of the classroom. Is the one experience is that I got the opportunity to uh, build a computer from scratch, and it was a 4-day event. I had to actually miss some basketball practices and at least one game, I remember, because I had to make the decision to either do it or not, because you had to do all 4 days or you can't do the program. So I had to make a decision based off of that. I was like, is this something that I want to do? Like, or is basketball more important? You know what I mean? And I was like, well, we're not in the playoffs or anything important. Like, it's just missing one game and a couple practices or whatever. And so I made my decision. And I think just that decision kind of set the precedent of who I was to be in college and outside of, my professional life. Because, like, I'm going to do the things that are going to develop me outside, and I'm not just going to just do one thing. I want all the experiences, and I need to use that to my advantage if I have that opportunity. And with me, I haven't had that many opportunities to. I took almost every single opportunity in my life to do something outside of the norm. You know what I mean? And then the second opportunity that I had was a summer work program for low income students. So I worked first year. I worked at like the Boys and Girls Club in the summer. They would pick us up like we were going to school. They would drop us off. We would work and get dropped off at home. We had supervisors, things like that. The second year, I worked at the fire station. That was cool. I just, I did paperwork and stuff like that. Like they was like, you can go across the street and get donuts if you want, or whatever. They had a little basketball hoop there. I don't even realize or like know if I even talked to like the firefighters or anything. I was just doing office work every time I was there. But those are two of my most memorable experiences outside of the classroom, which helped me kind of get my feet wet for um, making those tough decisions when I was in college to either am I all basketball or all education, and because I made that decision early, I was able to draw from that and be like, I'm not all basketball. Like I need both. So what about you all?
Um, I I played soccer like all 4 years of high school. So with soccer, if I wasn't playing soccer during my season in the spring, I was the I was one of the not assistant coaches, but one of like the assistants, like students, the managers, team managers for the boys team in the fall. So I mainly did soccer for most of the part. I did cross country, I think my freshman year, but after that first year of cross country, yeah, I was done. Um, Running is not for me unless it's after a soccer ball.
Right.
But I actually did a 2020 leadership myself. So,
Really?
um, mhm.
How was
But
that?
it was fun. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I think one of the coolest parts was that you got to like interact with other kids from other schools. So I got to meet a lot of people, or even friends that I already had, but they went to another school. I got to like take time out of the because we would take time out of our school day to go to like a field trip or something, and it would be fun. I mean, not just because you got to get out of class, but
That's
like
what I was about to say.
I mean that's always cool, But
Right.
we did
I'm
really
always trying to get out.
yeah we did really fun stuff. I remember we went to it was like oh I got to visit a prison for one of the field trips. We They took us to a prison, um, and I just remember just how we got to kind of like talk to some of the prisoners in there, and they kind of just like told us their story and things like that. And I remember after leaving that, it made such an impact on me that my not my sophomore, my senior year in high school, I took American Corrections to learn more about the prison system, and I actually thought about becoming like a like a correctional officer for the youth, and that's still like something that I would be down to do, just because I learned so much through that field trip. We went to see like the bank, um, and oh, I remember another one we did. We were building like teamwork because well like I said we were from like different schools, so there was like a whole bunch of different personalities in that group, and they took us to like this place where we did a whole bunch of like building exercises for groups and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. But
Did
I
they
did
teach you about investing at the bank?
oh yeah.
What they teach you? Do you
um
invest? Do you have stocks?
Not right now because I'm waiting for my appointment with like one of my sorority sisters' brothers. That's their job. They like work in all that. So I mean I have my money. I created my savings account and stuff, and I got my credit card, my first credit card too. Um and
But girl, we was burning through credit cards in college and stuff. we,
oh,
we didn't know nothing. We was like, hey, you gonna give me this credit card? I'm gonna buy me some clothes.
no, I have a well when I got in college I got a debit card. So um you know
Ooh, that ain't
no,
fun.
I had a debit card, and that was just more for me to like whenever my mom would send me money, if she would send me money or anything. But now this is big boy, like I'm trying to get credit so I can move out and stuff. So, but yeah, the bank we did a lot at the bank. They would just tell us like um just basically like how you should kind of create like an Excel sheet and kind of write down like uh just budgeting, that you should budget, especially like for college. They'd be like, you're already going to be paying a lot for college, and you want to make sure that you're not just spending your money out on the weekends and things like that. But 2020 leadership, they do a scholarship too. So
Mhm.
yeah, I actually know someone who got the
The 2020 scholarship.
scholarship. um Two things. I brought a Hispanic club or Latino club at Pin Valley MCCC, and then we also started our own drama club at MCCC.
There you go.
So that
What
was my
about
high
Dr.
school.
DeVries?
A lot of the things you guys are talking about didn't exist when I went to high school. I mean, I'm old, so we didn't have things like that. But I did stuff. I was I was in the band, so that I really liked being in the band, but that gave me some opportunities to do some other things. Like in the summer, a couple of summers, I went to like this music camp where we got better at our instruments and took private lessons from a college professor. So that was pretty fun. But then when I turned 16, I got a job. And I look back and think about what I learned. I mean, I worked at McDonald's. I mean, it wasn't a glamorous job at all, but I learned so much from that job that, I mean, still, I think is really good for me today. Like, I learned about, talking with people who I don't know and, being polite and courteous, even when people are not polite and courteous back. Working on a schedule, being a part of a team, those were all things that I learned through working at McDonald's that, I would have missed out on. And I think a lot of our Sumner kids have jobs. I was talking to a student the other day who works at Walmart, and just how, you know, ugly people can be to the workers at Walmart because I don't know, a lot of people look down on, people who work in the service industry jobs, and a lot of people are in a hurry, they're grocery shopping, or they're frustrated because, oh, you're out of toilet paper. Why are you out of toilet paper? And they're talking to a 16-year-old cashier who has nothing to do with ordering anything, nothing to do with stocking anything. They just check you out and tell you how much money you owe. So
Yeah,
the things that
I still get that today. I'm an Uber driver, so when I'm Uber driving, I get people that make assumptions about me, and then I have to give them the knowledge. Like I gotta show them that I know a lot more than what you think I know.
yeah.
So yeah, I get that all the time. That kind of fuels my little fire too.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
just I think we forget how important those skills are that we learn when we're working with the public. Um, they because I mean, there aren't very many jobs that students are going to get after they go to college that they don't have to do some kind of work with the public. I mean, even IT people who work on building computers and writing code and things like that, they still have to work with others. So there's always this need to communicate well and be able to work back and forth and compromise and collaborate. So those are all skills that you get at jobs that people sometimes look down on. I mean, it's like getting your PhD in customer service or something like that. I'm sure being an Uber driver is kind of the same. I'm the world's worst Uber passenger because I always want to like interview the Uber driver. Like I want to find out all their backstory, and by the time they drop me off, they're like, "I'm glad this woman is gone. Thank goodness she's not going any farther."
Hey, as long as you tip well, hey,
I'll talk to
I
you.
talk with it, yeah, right. I talk to people with it, like usually they have to initiate the conversation, but once it's going, like, hey, I'm gonna
I
take it all the way there because I'm part introvert too, so I don't like small talk. So, hey, how are the Chiefs doing? That's cool, but like, if you really want to know, Andy Reid is a little bit like I don't trust him. And then I go on the deep end about why I don't trust him, even though he's won the championship.
yeah. Yeah, I always ask questions, and I always, find out a lot about my Uber drivers. And I always think if I were an Uber driver, which I shouldn't be because I am often a distracted driver. I'm not on my phone, but I'm thinking about other things, and so I wouldn't be a
You
good
run
Uber
into
driver.
stuff, and
Yeah.
that's why you got a new car.
Herbs
Like,
hit her.
So
you
anyway,
done hit a
I'm
couple of corners and curbs.
all right.
No,
Curbs are
herbs
meant
hit
to be
her.
jumped.
Herbs hit her.
The curb hit her. It just jumped out and bit me.
That's right. What I was going to say is I think it would be fun to just make stuff up when I was talking to someone in my Uber. Like if they said, so what made you start doing this work? Say something crazy like, um,
Not too crazy.
yeah, no, something
No, I'm
crazy.
talking about
Like,
on this show.
oh, well, like I would like to say, because I watched a show that I really liked a couple of years ago called The Americans, and it was about these people who were Russian spies living in the US. So, like, I'd like to say, well, I had to start doing this because I used to be a spy for the USSR, but when the USSR disbanded, then they left me here, and there's really not a need for spies in Kansas City, so I'm an Uber driver. That's what I would like to say, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, I try to make stuff up all the time, but then I'm just like, I can't do it. Like, I just stop. I'm like, I'll just tell my normal story.
Yeah, yeah. I just think it would be fun. Or I wonder if my Uber driver is just telling me stuff because.
You brought up
Dude, I would lie. I
one
would
of the,
make up something new every single time someone asks.
what'd you say?
I said I would lie. I probably won't ever see you again. Why are you an Uber driver? Well, I don't know.
What would you say? Like, come on, we
Here
need to
you go.
play it up. And you right on the spot. Like,
Oh, why am I driving an Uber?
yeah.
I just be like, I have 10 kids. I adopted 10 kids and COVID hit, so lost 3 jobs. This was the only way.
Dang, you went all the way sad with it. Like,
Because then they're gonna tip more.
then they gonna tip more. Look at you.
I've been like,
The other
with
night I
oh,
had a couple in there, and I was like, what did I say? I was like, how are y'all doing in this COVID times or whatever or something like that? And she was like, oh, it's really this and that, like really down in it. And I was like, well, we got to start changing that narrative of and start being positive about it. And then she was like, that's true. Um, and we had like we actually had to hustle, and you know what, maybe we're gonna be a little bit stronger because of it, right? And I was like, there we go. And I had just pulled up to their spot, and I was like, now we just changed the world. Like, we just solved the world's problem. And they got out laughing, and they tipped me $10 too. I was like, yes, for a $2 ride. I'm like, good.
That's good. That's the way.
But yeah, you mentioned something that so working with people, I knew that like what I wanted to do ultimately. This is when I was in college, and I was like, I'm gonna have to work with people, and I don't uh communicate well. So I was like, I'm gonna go home. I had just got my first car or whatever, and I was like, I'm gonna be a waiter so that I could start talking to people and get me out of my little. It'll force me out of my shyness, and that's exactly what I did. Well, I didn't get to go home because they didn't hire me. So I went to the Lake of the Ozarks, and I had a couple friends that were living down there for the summer, and I worked 2 jobs down there, like day and night. So I worked at Nautica in the morning, and then Outback at night. So I was just hustling like the whole summer. I had a 1986 Honda Prelude that was spray painted silver. We didn't have no air. Like, I didn't have no air in my car. Like, it was tough. Like, even like I brought me and my friend used to we used to ride the brakes off of that Honda Prelude, and then you know that was a summer. And then, like, just because that opportunity didn't present itself at home, like in Kansas City, I don't know why, but I have my thoughts. But because they wanted me to be this is my junior year, and they wanted me to be a bus boy. And I was like, dude, like, I'm a junior in college. Like, I'm not about to be no bus boy, and then you just filter me out some tips. Like, I need the waitress money. So, you know, I went down to the Lake of the Ozarks, I got me some skills, like, and I was able to transfer up here to a Outback, and the rest is history. But identifying what my weaknesses were led me to that understanding, and that's what I want to get across to a lot of the students is that you don't unless you are absolutely self-aware of you can be self-aware of your strengths as a young person, but like we don't want to touch on our weaknesses. So if you're conscious of what kind of you want to do and the person that you want to be, you can actually put yourself in position to get those skills young and start developing those skills along the way. And that's what that's why I brought up the topic of just doing stuff outside of school is not just for to pad the resume, it's to get you to a place where you can actually gain some skills and use it to your advantage. So there might not be a lot of opportunities. Like the KC Biz Fest is like there's only a select students that get chosen. So if you get chosen, that's an opportunity. And we talked about it on the last episode. Like we got to take advantage of our opportunities that we get when we get them. You know, even if we don't win at BizFest, we still had the opportunity. We still was amongst them. Now we have something to draw from. When that next opportunity comes, we'll be a little bit more ready for it, and we may be able to win that. Or 20 years from the the time you were at KC BizFest, you're on Shark Tank and you're pitching your thing to, and you can draw from that experience, and they will connect with, hey, I was at KC BizFest and I pitched something similar to this 20 years ago, and now I'm pitching you this, which has evolved from my initial idea, you know, and the idea that we had as kids. And shoot, somebody might invest in you. So, you know, that's bringing it full circle. No comments from the peanut.
No, I think you're right on. I mean, we don't know what the experiences we have, how they're going to come back and benefit us later.
Right.
And we have to look at everything as an opportunity to learn. Even failure is an opportunity to learn. I think that's really hard for
Young
I mean,
people.
it's hard for everybody, but it's especially hard like if you're a little bit shy and you don't really like putting yourself out there. No, failing in front of people is can be really scary. But you know, there are all kinds of like motivational quotes about failure. You know, like I don't know, Thomas Edison learned how to not to make a light bulb 10,000 times or something. You know, there are all these famous quotes about failure, but I mean that's what makes people successful is is being willing to put it out there and give it a try. You know, the failure is not the person who falls down 7 times. The failure is the person who falls down
Stays
seven
down.
times and never gets up.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Right. Like a great wise woman said, knock me down 9 times, but I get up 10.
yep, yep.
Party.
Well, failure, like we often, you know, I'm the success guy, so like I just study this back and front to back, but failure is synonymous with success. So if you take one of my favorite people of all time, Elon Musk, they failed 3 straight times at shooting this rocket up in the air to go to space and land, the first time ever to do that. You know what I mean? They failed 3 times. You know, that's millions, almost billions of dollars spent on those three rockets. So on that fourth one, and you ain't got no money left, my companies are about to go bankrupt. You better make it right, but or you know you better get it right. And fortunately, they went up and came back and were able to land on that launch pad, and it was a first for everybody. You know what I mean? But that failure after failure is the reason why they were able to be successful. And now, like now, they know exactly how to do it because of those failures. There was little things wrong that they was missing, and those adjustments that were made to. And now they land rockets like no problem. They go up, they come back down, no problem. We ain't even thinking about it now. And that just goes. I mean, he's one of the like most disruptive entrepreneurs of our time right now, and we're just seeing a lot of like even Tesla and almost went bankrupt too before they even had cars out and things like that. But he had an idea. He worked his vision, and like he pushed himself, pushed other people, and you know made it happen. And now the company is worth over however many um, billions of dollars. He's worth however many billions of dollars. And to bring it full circle back to what we were talking about stocks, I like since I won a Tesla Roadster a year and a half ago or so. I started using the Stash app and investing in Tesla, and I just started putting money in like weekly, just a little bit, $25 weekly, weekly, and I just continued that, and I just kept making money, even when I didn't have money or had to pay stuff. I kept it going, and now that Tesla stock went from way down here to all the way up here. So my $2,000 investment, like I have $10,000 worth of Tesla stock, you know, just, and I don't know anything about stock markets, but I was listening to a black economist, and he was like, if you know, black people need to stop buying Nikes, and they need to invest in Nikes so they have something to get from it, and their kids can pass it. You can pass it to your kids and things like that. So I was like, hey, I want a Tesla, but I can't afford it, so I might as well let Tesla pay for a Tesla myself. You know what I mean? That was kind of my logic. It don't make sense, but
It does make sense. It makes a lot of sense.
so I was just like, I'll invest in it and see what happens, you know, because I read Elon Musk's book, and I saw his career, and like that's why I know, like I was like, I'm investing in him and his idea. I know that he already did a 10-year plan, and he executed on this plan, and now he's on his another 10 years. And like if you got a track record of making that much money and doing those different types of things, that next 10 years is still going to keep moving up. So I'm in my stock for a long like the long term. A lot of people want to, you know, get that quick money, but now I'm just like, even if I do get enough money based off of that stock, I might as well leave it in there. You know what I mean? I'm not I'm not gonna buy the Tesla for that from that just to say I did it or whatever. But now I mean, those are some of the things you learn along the way that that yeah, it may help. Like if I would have knew in college to do investing, like man, we had we had so many student loan checks that that we didn't use. We used to buy clothes, and we could have bought a house with all the money that we had, you know, in our and we could have been making money off the house type of thing. Like that's stuff that, you know, some people need to know. But you know, I digress.
You do.
I need to digress, right? Any final thoughts? That was my final thought. I'm not gonna go again.
I would just say take advantage of opportunities if they sound interesting to you. I mean, there is so much stuff happening at Sumner. I mean, I'm just shocked about all the programs that we get information about. I mean, unless you're just interested in absolutely nothing at all, like if the only thing you want to do is just like breathe, then maybe there's nothing for you. But I mean, there's something for everyone. If you're into sports, if you're into writing, if you're into, you know, business, if you're into investing, if you're into computers, if you're into, you know, interested in healthcare, there's, I mean, everything. Um, so just take advantage of those things when you find out about them. Join up. Most of them are free. A lot of them, are sponsored, through community organizations that are, you know, like a great example is engineering. Like there's a shortage of engineers in the US. We just don't produce enough engineers. And so all of these organizations that want to eventually hire engineers, they they sponsor these programs for young people to get them interested in engineering. And so because they want to get young people interested, they usually pay for everything so that the students don't have to pay for it. So it's a great opportunity to take advantage of someone else's. I mean, their motives are kind of pure because they want to help people, but I mean, let's face it, they want to hire you to be an engineer in 10 years or whatever. So just taking advantage of those opportunities, I think, is really important because um, one, you see if you really like something, or two, you see if you really don't like something, and that helps you decide what you want to do.
Yeah. I think for me, it would just be remember that um, sometimes your hobbies can end up being more than just a side hustle. So always like never, um, I guess like never quit doing stuff that you like, because you never know. I have a friend who, during COVID, like she just graduated and got her degree in architecture, but because of COVID, like there's not a lot of opportunities. But she used her creativity and she started making earrings, and it's been amazing seeing how like that small hobby or idea is actually like doing really really good, and she's actually shipping um, orders and things like that, like out of state. So I just think that real failure is when you stop trying. So once you stop trying, then that's when you've honestly failed. Otherwise, every L stands for lessons. And I would just say that show up to opportunities. Not sometimes it's not even like what you gain from that opportunity, but who you met through that opportunity. And so, um, you might not think about it, but sometimes when you talk to other people, when they hear your ideas and things like that, it might just stick with them, and maybe you made an impact on them, and then later on when they hear an opportunity that could be beneficial for you, they'll say your name and bring you up. So I think that's important too.
Yeah, and I think my final thought. I said I wasn't gonna say anything, but we do like we have to go into these opportunities as open-minded as we can be and not focus on what we're going to get out of it, because you may not know for years what you're going to get out of it. But if you get a little something out of it, maybe it's just talking to that one person, or just coming out of your comfort zone, or being able to present to a group. You don't know how that's going to affect you, and open up more doors for your personal development. And that's the number one thing about these opportunities, is a personal development. And it's not what you can give to, or it's not what you can get from that experience in the now. It's what is it going to give me for what I plan to do in the future. So these opportunities are great for that. And I just hope that more students, like, we should have students knocking down our doors to be in these programs, but we don't, and we have to kind of force it on them because they're not our main opportunities. So sports, and you know, and number two, I would suggest that students do something that outside of what they're interested in. So I wasn't necessarily interested in computers. I did know that I was gonna get a computer at the end, but I I did have that opportunity. But like, I wasn't necessarily, like, I wasn't in the engineering department or computer science department. That stuff didn't exist. We just went at regular ed, for the whole school time. So, like, if something interests you and it interests you enough to make that decision to go through with it, go on with an open mind. Like, I didn't understand how that opportunity with building that computer or the summer work program was going to lead into like my philosophy in how I do things for myself. So, it's a long term thing. Success don't happen overnight, and even in loss, even in failure, you never really lose or fail unless you quit. So, um, I won't lose, you won't lose, we won't lose. That's my that's my
That's your
philosophy.
motto.
All right. Thank you all for joining us again. We will see y'all next time on the next episode, and I hope y'all enjoyed this.
Bye.
Bye.